This is the Hammer Down Racing Report. And now your hosts, Scott Hammer and Ron Miller.
Welcome, race fans, to the Hammer Down Racing Report for Thursday, March 23rd. For some reason, I was thinking June. I don't know why.
June?
Yeah.
We've been racing for a couple months already.
I don't know. Coming at you from the John Young Racing for First Responders, Dave Kemmer studio. Scott Hammer, Ron Miller, and joining us in the middle, Mr. Jimmy McCune. We'll be talking to him just a little bit.
He is in the middle.
He is. He's right there in the middle, see? What the overhead cameras for.
Oh, wow.
We got some use. So we'll be speaking to him, get an update on his recovery with the burns to his feet and new business endeavor.
Which had to do with the burns on his feet.
And we'll find out what his plans are for racing this year. You do have plans, right?
Yeah, eventually.
I'm not sure he does.
Oh, well, we'll find out.
He's heading in so many different directions.
So we'll cover that. We'll give away some Big D's pizza, and we got a lot of news to cover as well. I think I covered everything. Oh, yeah, we're coming at you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Forgot that part. Make sure to contact Freeze Frame Photos for all your racing photo needs, from action shots to victory lane. They have custom kids cups, 20-ounce tumblers, water bottles, anything you might need. Get ready for the 2023 race season, which was supposed to start last weekend at Attica around here, and
didn't.
And we're going to have to wait another week again because this weekend got postponed as well.
Ryan Weekman keeps messing us up.
He doesn't want to do the weekend weather pit stop forecast because
he didn't want to be blamed for it.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, give Charlie a call, 419-476-9978. Freeze frame photos, special moments frozen in time. Which reminds me, we'll make that little guy go there. It's got phone numbers down there of all our sponsors, including Oakshade Raceway, where the fastest meet to race. OakshadeRaceway.com now has... apparently, I confused people when I started posting some of the events for the 2023 season.
And we can blame it all on you, right?
You can blame me, fine. But there's only like 8 events.
What do you mean, only 12 shows?
That's because I only put up 12
going
shows.
On?
That was
no.
They're still working on some other things, but I did put the full schedule up, so I filled in all the blanks with full shows of late model, sportsman, dominator, super stocks, and compacts. So that those
changes may be forthcoming.
There are some things in the works, yes, and
pretty exciting things.
I talked to both parties involved on Saturday morning. I haven't heard back though as to whether they connected directly, but I'm hoping they do because Party A was very receptive to the idea.
Really,
that Party B had. Yeah,
that's pretty exciting.
That's all I'll say about that. So yeah,
but I think I know where that's headed. So yeah,
it doesn't really involve you though.
No,
directly, but you build some of the vehicles that,
yeah.
So season opener at Oakshade is coming up Saturday, April 29th. Big D's,
and it might.
Big D's. You're gonna drive?
Huh?
We're gonna have to talk later. Big D's Pizza in Clyde. Give them a call, 419-547-1444. Order online at orderbigdspizza.com. Check out the new country fried steak with bacon sandwich. That was the new sandwich that I meant to.
Country fried steak
with bacon. $6.99.
What could be wrong with that? I'm sure my heart doctor would love that.
They have everything there. Everything. Big D's in Clyde, big on taste, not on price. Also have to mention DCR Graphics. Look, check this out. Oh, well, here, let's, we need to change the camera here. And this is a show, if you were listening to us on the podcast, you may want to check out the video portion of it because we do have some photos we're going to be showing a little bit later, which you may or may not want to see. But back to DCR Graphics. Check this out. It's got the Hammer Down. It's a late model. Pretty cool. It's got like my car on
Turn
one side.
that thing around.
It's got Ron's car on that
there
side.
We go.
And the Hammer Down Racing Report logo on top. And, of course, the DCR Graphics logo on the back. So thanks
Isn't there supposed to be a
Dale
number
Cole
on
Jr.
the roof?
for that. Well, probably, but I don't know he could fit the 8 and the 35 on the roof, or we'd be 835 or 358.
I thought you were bad at math.
That wasn't math. That was just Scott. Putting numbers. That was concatinating. what's the word I'm looking for?
Concocting.
Whatever. Okay. So thanks to DCR
Our
Graphics.
producer over in the corner.
Talk more about that later. Rhymeville Race Cars and Headhunters Barber Studio and Salon in Perrysburg. Did have a little bit of action from last weekend, sort of, to get to, which would be
Racing Roundup.
Attica. Supposed to kick things off last week, and we talked to Brian Lisky about Attica's race season last week on the show, and they had already canceled last weekend.
Right.
And things were optimistic. They had a post earlier this
were.
week saying that things might be happening, and then I believe it was yesterday they pulled the plug on it due to
Totally saturated grounds.
Yeah, Mother Nature's not playing nice. It's one of those years. Sometimes we get good weather early, and a lot of times we don't. This would be one of those a lot of times we don't scenarios. So they're going to try again next weekend to kick off race season here in Northwest Ohio, which will still be March.
Looks like the Attica Raceway folks are going to be having a lot of hot dogs and hamburgers for the next couple of weeks.
Possibly. Maybe they'll have a good deal next week.
Maybe, yeah. Week-old hot dogs, kind of like day-old bread.
There you go. Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series also rained out at Atomic in Brownstown last weekend. As well as the World of Outlaw Case Construction Late Model Series. We're supposed to race at Smoky Mountain and Boyd's. That also rained out. There was a little bit of racing, though. The World of Outlaw NASA Energy Drink Sprint Cars did get some action in at Williams Grove.
And that was a cool
not
race.
At Williams Grove. Williams Grove got rained out Saturday night, but they did race on... Wait. Williams Grove got rained out Friday night. They did race Saturday night.
That's right.
Lincoln Speedway and Rico Abreu.
That was a fun race to watch, too.
I was on the phone with Barry Marlowe from Great Lakes Super Sprints. As a matter of fact, during that race, I was kind of watching it, but I was mostly paying attention to him. But yeah, it looked like a pretty good race.
Yeah.
You think you could beat those guys?
Probably
Probably
not. No. I'm going to pass on racing with those guys for a while.
Okay. So Rico Abreu, he picked up the win there, and Carson Macedo finished fourth, which clinched the Low E Insulation Spring Showdown Mini Series Championship for him. And I believe he didn't even win any of those races, just consistently finishing near the top. So congratulations to him. NASCAR action. Saturday, it was Christian Eckes picking up his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Saturday afternoon or evening later, Austin Hill picked up his third win of the season, the Raptor 250 at Atlanta. And then Cup Series action on Sunday was Joey Logano picking up the win in the Ambetter Health 400. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Xfinity race because there was an interesting moment that took place in that. So
I'll tell you what, I was impressed with the Cup race after watching, and I watched the truck race and the Xfinity race, and they were crash fests, and it was crazy, and I wasn't expecting much out of the Cup race, and other than one incident that was just a failure that caused a wreck, it was a good race.
Okay.
It wasn't a caution fest the way the other two were.
Okay, that's fair. Is it going to be a caution fest this weekend when they hit the road course?
Could be. This is going to be the first time for the choose cone on a road course, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
That you're shaking your head. What do you think of choose? What if they had choose cones for your races?
We ran that, was it not last year, of course, but the year before we went out to Idaho for that race out of Meridian, the Pink Lady Classic, and that was the first time that I'd ever seen that in use, especially with a sprint car. So, I mean, on one hand, sometimes it'll benefit you and sometimes it'll bite you. So, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just used to good old-fashioned sprint car race, and if you're fourth, you know where you're at. You're outside the second row.
With the sprint cars, traditionally, they had been single file on restarts, and I've been seeing a lot of the traveling series now going with double file on the restarts.
Yeah, we went double file with Must See Racing 1 to 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think it was 2 years ago. I enjoy it. I mean, I always like a good restart, so especially when they double us up, but it just benefits us sometimes.
Okay. Is it more stressful having to choose which line you're going to get in?
Yeah, especially if you're way back in the pack. And when I was at that Pink Lady Classic, I was running about, I don't even know, 14th or 15th. And now I'm like, and you have no idea.
Are you trying to look ahead to see?
Yeah, you can, but that was the first time I'd ever really seen it. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? And I'm like, left. Yeah, I had no idea what was going on.
Did it work out for you?
I don't even remember. I know it didn't because I ended up in a wreck and got tore up and climbed out of the car. And then they had a rule where you couldn't climb out of the car and you're DNF. And that's great. I didn't know a lot of the rules out there, so it was a great trip.
Yeah, you want to get out of the car because you never know if it's on fire.
Speaking of which, let's kind of recount what happened back in, was it August of last year that happened?
July 23rd.
July 12th. Okay, back
Gee,
in July.
He remembers the date.
I'll probably never forget that one.
Today's the 23rd. I'm not going to do the math to figure out how many months ago that was, but
8.
Okay.
I might know that one.
Give us for some of our listeners that may not have been familiar with what happened to you, kind of what happened, what did you have to go through after that to get to where you are now, and where exactly are you now?
And what caused the fire?
Yeah.
Where I'm
Story
at
time.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm at right now is your loft here on this radio show, but no. So we, again, we had decided to go dirt racing with a friend of mine out of Finuahoe, Doug Staws, and it was our third night out, and I just got in my mind that I was going to go out there and put some really good fast laps together as best of my ability at that moment, because I was still pretty fresh on the dirt.
At Butler.
Yeah, and we just went out for that little practice qualifying run. You get 3 laps, and I just put it on the mat and, did a little lift and went down in the next corner, did a little lift, and I was like, all right, that was cold on my leg, was that fuel? I just couldn't tell, and I was too really worried about, making a fast lap and, getting a good qualifying run, and the car felt good, I felt good, and went down the straightaway, dumped it in the next corner, gave it a little burp, and I was like, I think that's fuel. And by about that point, I'd already had a lap worth of fuel sprayed all over me, and at that point, the fuel line was right next to my left leg. And unbeknownst to me about how bad the fuel leak was, I was already soaked from the knees down. And then I shut it down, not off, but I woed it down and, kind of limped across the start-finish line and was going to climb up the hill to come out of turn 1 there to go to the pits and, fix it like normal. Done this a few times over my career. Won't do it again. As soon as I went up that hill, it was the fuel that was inside the cockpit just kind of went out to the left header, and it was just instant. Yeah, I just knew it right away.
The fuel hit the headers?
I assume
probably.
So. Yeah. It was probably, bellowing out a little bit of flame, just an alcohol motor, and,
sure.
You're off the gas and you were just wide open for 2 laps, and I was coming down off of that, and I went up the hill, and I got about halfway up the hill, and I'm like, oh, crap, I'm on fire. I just knew it. I felt that it wasn't headers, it wasn't just making me warm because of that. And I was like, I'm on fire. And, I'm only halfway up that hill at that point, and it felt like that hill was Mount Everest. And, I crested the hill and jumped out and, full panic mode, and didn't get steering wheel off quite quick enough. Had to plop back down the seat, yanked that off, tossed it, and got out of the race car. And unfortunately, the seat that I had in there and the way the sissy bars and the outlaw bars on that car were just made it a little bit even tougher for me to get out. So we've changed all that stuff and got the car rebuilt. But it just I got out, I looked down, and I could see through my helmet that my legs were on fire, and stop, drop, and roll. But that was just rocks.
What kind of fuel were you running?
It was alcohol.
Yeah. So isn't that hard to see the fire then?
Yeah, I couldn't see it until I got out of the car, and I could actually see my legs. My suit was actually on fire. So that was the only time I really knew I was, but I knew I was. So
most of the stock cars and late models that run alcohol have a little upper cylinder lube in it. Sprint cars tend to run just pure methanol, which is really clear. You can't see the flames, but you can feel them.
So, did the track officials know what was going on at that point?
No, really, nobody really knew what the hell was going on. I just jumped out, and, I kind of went where I thought I was going to be, safe and get to someone that could help me. And, at that point, I'm looking around. I dropped down to the ground, rolled around on, like an idiot trying to do that, and that wasn't working at all because I was just literally soaked. So there I'm just, stripping, trying to get my stuff off, and I got everything down to my ankles, and I just could not get my shoes off. I couldn't get my boots off. That was the problem. And then there was nobody there. There was one guy who was trying to help me, and he realized what was going on. But I'm just screaming at him to yank my shoes off, and I didn't care how they came off, just get them off, but they couldn't do it. So finally, at some point, some dude was actually going to the car to put the car out, and I smacked him on his legs when he was going by, and I just started pointing at my feet, and he hit me with the fire extinguisher, and, finally got the flames out, and then I could finally get my shoes off and stuff. So
Now, did the fire extinguisher do any damage?
no,
You
I mean,
don't think-
it didn't do any damage to me.
Okay, yeah.
The fire did that, but the car really, it didn't have anything wrong with it. I mean, it had a little singed here, a little bit there. Got my seat cushion under my butt. Got my steering wheel pad. Honestly, I could have put some new fuel lines on it, and somebody could have ran it.
Now,
there was really nothing wrong.
What caused the fuel leak?
Just a faulty fuel line. It's not really a push lock hose, but it was reusable fitting. But it was rubber hose, and there was a few lines on the car when I got it, and it was already plumbed with those 3 lines. And I finished the lines off from the bypasses back, put new push lock stuff on it, new fittings, and finished off the normal plumbing scenario that we would have. And we went to Fremont, ran it that half a night there, went to Butler, ran it full night, and the third time out is when it got me, and it just burst.
Now, is that type of line common in a sprint car?
The push lock stuff is, but not so much anymore. There's still got a lot of guys that do run the push lock stuff, but we're a lot of guys have gotten away from that and doing more crimp, high end, Kevlar hose.
And that's what you're running in all of your cars now?
Yes. Yeah, we've teamed up with Goodrich out of North Carolina. It's a UK company. They build some really nice hose and fittings, and we've teamed up with them. And I've got a crimp machine now, and we're going to start building hose, not only for myself, but for anyone else that wants just to upgrade what they have in their race car, no matter what race car it is.
Now, is that under the umbrella of Bulldog or?
Yeah, it's underneath the Bulldog Safety and Performance. We just kind of recently just put out, I think over the weekend, that we've teamed up with Goodrich, and we're just trying to get all that product in and get all the tooling and stuff in place.
Talk about the safety equipment and what you've learned about that.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. We had a lot of time, a lot of downtime to sit and think about things. And
like 8 months.
Yeah. Fire extinguishers, we teamed up with SPA Technique out of Indianapolis, another UK company, they're great guys. They have a really great fire suppression system that we are selling now. And we've had a lot of guys jump on board. And
no, I know the
doing
dirt late
that.
model guys run a 10-pound automatic system with an override. What do the sprint cars use?
Yeah, we're running the same system. It's a 2-nozzle, 5-pound system, SFI rated. So, it's what the Outlaws would run if you were running with the Outlaws.
Automatic discharge?
Yes, it's got a 175-degree bulb for the auto discharge, and then it's got a manual pull if needed.
An override, okay.
Yep, and we sell them for just about everything from a sprint car to a road race car to a late model.
So if you needed a 10-pound system for your dirt late
anything
model,
you need. Yep.
Bulldog
And one thing I
can
like
handle
about
it?
this one is this is out of all the ones that are out for the sprint car right now, this is the only foam system. So it's a liquid foam. Everything else is a gas. And for me, with my situation, how I got burnt, I was soaked, and a gas is just going to dissipate much quicker than what the foam would if it sprayed on me. So I've got a nozzle coming out down, my lower regions, my feet, and then I've got one that comes right out, right at the chest area.
So when you're thinking this is the safest system available?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think if you had this system at Butler that day? How do you think your injuries would be different? Would you have even gotten burned?
That's a tough one. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't have a crystal ball on that one. But to say it would have helped, yes, for sure, definitely. No matter what, that bulb was going to burst, or I would have pulled it, one of the two, and it would have sprayed me. So to say that I wasn't going to get burned, I can't tell you that. But I can definitely tell you it would have been nowhere near as bad as what I had.
Okay.
And that would have been great.
So, speaking of I want to talk more about the Bulldog safety and performance stuff. But let's go back to your feet because you brought some pictures. You Is it okay to share these now?
Yeah, you can share them.
Okay.
I mean, I've put most of the stuff on Facebook and just kind of kept people abreast of, what's going on and the journey. And yeah, it was a tough deal. But,
All right,
I looked at it as a lot of people always wonder, you sit home and you wonder, like, how's that guy doing? What happened to him? All that stuff. I went Facebook Live, told everybody what happened when it happened. I'm sitting in the ambulance in the back of that thing waiting for the other ambulance to get there. And, I was just like, man, I know this is going to go around pretty quick. So let me just, head it off and say, this is what happened. I'm
Let everybody know I'm alive.
Exactly. So
if you have a weak stomach, this is your warning to look away.
If I remember right, that initial video, had you been administered some pain drugs or something?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no. That was pure adrenaline, man. I sat at that racetrack for 45 minutes waiting for another bus to come get me, and they couldn't do. They didn't even give me an aspirin. They couldn't do anything for me. Wow. That was the agony part of the whole situation. Was just not proper things in place.
Right.
So hopefully we've rectified that at that track.
No, I don't think I have these in any kind of order.
So if you go down to the bottom one, that would be day 1. Hour 1. Yep.
That one there?
Yep.
Kind of in the middle there.
Yeah, I think that was when they finally got me to the hospital, and then they unwrapped me and was like, oh, all right, this is what we got going on here.
Okay.
And then that was after the grafts when I finally got home, and you can see that some of the grafts, turned pink, and they had adhered, if you will, and did everything that they were supposed to do.
So that was the way it was supposed to look, right?
That's the way it was supposed to
Okay.
look. Well, at least the pink ones. The yellow area is not so good.
Okay.
But that was the worst one. That was the foot that took a long time. And then that graft, when it took on my ankle on the inside there, it actually pulled my foot to the inside. So it was, once I was able to walk and stuff, it was very difficult and extremely painful to walk for quite a while, just because
you had to stretch those tendons again.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually stuck to the inside. It just wouldn't. It didn't want to move. It still doesn't. I mean, I'm about.
That's an important foot too.
Yeah, but it goes down.
Okay.
It just doesn't kick to the right.
It goes. He said it goes up and down really well.
All right. What are we looking at here? Is this
just the progress through the mending area. It was either have another graft, which I did not want, because that was actually probably more painful than the feet. So we just let it heal.
Your skin or donor skin?
No, my skin. I didn't send that photo, but it was ugly.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was from basically my knee to my groin and about 3/4 of the way around. So it's still just beet red.
Ugh. And is this the most recent then?
Yeah, that's pretty much closed up, healed up. Just working with trying to get everything to stretch and move the right way.
It looks like everything's the same color now.
Yes, which they're really weird. I mean, they go through days where they look great, and then there's days where they look like holy crap. Like earlier, I had my shoes and socks off, and they were just purple and crazy looking. And yeah, just depends on the day, depends on the mood, and depends on how they feel.
So I mean, on an average day, I mean, are you still in a lot of pain, or is it just awkward? I mean, how much more road do you have to go?
Oh boy, I would say to not feel the way I do, maybe another 6 months to a year.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing. I mean, they told me it was going to be a year before I felt right, and we're at 8 months right now, so I'm going to guess another 6 months or so, just by the way everything has progressed over the last 2 or 3 months. I mean, I walk great now. I mean, I have good days and bad days, just days they hurt, and sometimes they don't. So, but yeah, I just working on trying to get my toes to work. That's the biggest thing, because when I got grafted, it pulled my toes upwards, so my toes don't touch the ground. So it's like, when I'm forward walking, it's just the ball of your foot is the only thing that's touching, and then that pad. So it was just weird getting used to that balance.
And an onboard fire system could have prevented that.
Or at least helped.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the crystal ball, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it would have definitely helped. And,
So
and it is on the car now, and it'll be on all of our cars.
Have you been cleared to race yet, or?
I don't know. It's
They
what my
didn't,
mom
they
keeps
didn't
asking
tell
me.
him he
She's like,
couldn't.
I guess, yeah, that's the better question. Did they tell you can't race? If you wanted to jump in a car right now, race car, and go racing, is there?
Well, the dirt car's done. just kind of waiting for the weather, just like everybody else with Attica. So, no, there's a racetrack that we want to go to, Wayne County. I think that's kind of where I've looked at running off to next month. You know, they start in the 1st of April, so I think their opening practice night is supposed to be this Saturday or this Saturday afternoon, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, the weather's just not going to be friendly.
All right, we'll talk about your racing schedule or plans at least for this year. But let's talk about the Bulldog safety and performance. How did that come about, and what exactly is it other than the fire suppression systems?
Yeah, so basically it just kind of come about because of what happened to me, and I had a couple of people, you know, approach me and said, you know, you should be an advocate for this, and you know, I thought about it, and I was like, do I really want to get involved? But you know, at the end of the day, it was like, every time somebody got burnt, or last season was rough, man. It was just every time we turned around, somebody was getting, you know, unfortunately burnt. The kid out in California, the kid in Pennsylvania. Luckily, he was okay. The kid in California, they had some issues. But I reached out to everyone when it happened and said, hey, you know, if you need anything, I'm here for you. You got any questions? And the kid from California, his mom had messaged back and said they were having some problems with the bandages. And what is your thoughts? And I told them what to do, and they were like, oh, my God. And you know, it was just, you know, little things like that. And I was like, all right, so I can help this way. What else can I do? And then a friend of mine approached me about the SBA fire extinguisher system, and it just felt like a natural progression. I talked to them at PRI, and we just instantly just made the plans, and here we are.
So you turned a really bad day into something that should be positive.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's positivity that's going to hopefully help the next driver. You know, I mean, it was,
and who knows, it could help you again.
Yeah.
I know you've upgraded the lines in your car and everything, but
stuff happens.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it just does.
It's what we've chosen.
Yeah. So the Bulldog Safety and Performance came along. We just kind of sat back and all right, I got to come up with something. Come up with a name, and you know, we were trying to figure out, you know,
and that's been your racing nickname for a lot of years.
Exactly. So, and we wrapped in the performance and the safety all into one bubble. You know, we're doing the safety products with Next Gen and Sparco. You know, just companies that I've dealt with over my career have treated me really well. So, you know, I'm just trying to give back to them as much as they've given to me, and you know, if we can sell some of their products and help some guys out, that's what we're going to do.
Chance says those pictures are the worst OnlyFans ever.
Yeah, I know.
So what other safety equipment does Bulldog sell, or do you?
Yeah, so like I said, we're with Sparco. We're selling their products. We've got Next Gen for head and neck restraints, Schroff belts. We kind of put together a little thing that I seen on some belts that they had that I was really impressed with.
Are these any good?
They're RJS seat belts, but I'm dealing with the Schroff. So the only difference is we're doing the 2-inch ratchet belt, which is a 2-inch lap belt instead of the 3-inch wide. It's a little bit more comfortable, especially if you have a little belly and stuff. You know, kind of gets around that area a little bit better. But the ratchet belts in a sprint car are just I wouldn't run without them anymore. And the one thing I like about this belt is this 2-inch shoulders, 2-inch lap, and then it's got an adjustable sub belt. So it pulls just like your shoulder harnesses, but you got the sub belt, your crotch belt, that you can pull and adjust like that instead of being
for the people that aren't
bit.
familiar. What is the ratchet?
Yeah, I mean, it's you put a little quarter drive ratchet on the side of your seat belts, and you can just use the ratchet and tighten yourself up
instead of having to pull.
It's used for just the lap belt.
Yes, yeah, just the lap belt. So it's a great belt. I mean, I had a deal a couple years ago at the Little 500, and I had used the restroom during a red flag, and I had jumped out of the car, and then I'd seen guys do it before, and I was like, well, you know, I started to get out, and they were like, dude, yeah, screaming at me, no, get back in the car, back in the car. Well, at that point, I didn't have a ratchet belt in there, so I had to get back in and try to pull the belts myself. And dude, you got another 480 laps. You know, we were only, you know, only a few laps into the race when the red came out. And I'd actually go in and make a pit stop and lose a whole bunch of positions just to tighten my stinking belts when I could have done it myself if I had that belt. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's a plus, and I can make myself as tight as I want.
Speaking of belts, did you watch the Chili Bowl Nationals this year?
Yes.
And see that kid that flew out? And they speculate, they don't know for sure, but they think the sprint cars, they have, what are they, the little tag on
Arm
the
You're
restraints.
talking about arm restraints.
for the arm. Well, the
Yeah.
little thing on the fire suit for the arm restraints.
Yeah, it hangs
But-
off your.
But he didn't have
Arm.
the arm restraints, and they think when he was flipping that that little tab got into his buckle and may have unlatched that.
I'm not betting on that.
You know, okay.
No.
Okay, that's
As
kind of what.
Been around this
what's,
my whole life.
What's
As a
your opinion
long-time
on it?
open wheel guy, what's your thought?
What are your thoughts on it? And what
I've
do you
screwed up.
how could it have been prevented?
I've screwed up and missed a belt. I missed a shoulder harness one night at IRP, and I had to pull in the pits and get it done. And they sent me to the tail for it, and I was supposed to start out side front row on a TV night. And we had a really fast race car, and they ended up making it was called the McCune rule there for a little while that USAC had because of the belt, and they sent me to the tail, and I was like, dude, this is just safety, man. But at the end of the day, I think, you get that last little snap, and sometimes that belt and you don't get that last little snap. And I think that, he just didn't snap in it all the way. That's just my opinion. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I would prefer that you just come out and say, hey, I screwed up. I don't think I had my belt cinched all the way tight. There was no fault of the belt. There was no fault of this, or it didn't have the flap on it, Just come out and say, hey, I screwed up, I just wish people would do that more, and then you would know. Help the next guy. It's just like with this fuel line deal for me. It was like, I'm going to show you what happened. I'm going to show you what happened to my feet, and I'm going to show you the belt, the hose.
And
one of these days,
I'm going to show you lines that can't do that.
exactly. One of these days, when I get everything up and running with Bulldog Safety and Performance, I'm going to pull the hoses out. These are what we make, and this is what happened to me. And this cheap piece of crap hose is what bit me and cost me a long time and some ugly feet.
Are those hoses still pretty much intact?
Oh, yeah, I've got all the hoses off of it. I still got the ugly one. I've got my uniform hanging in the shop.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah, I've got it all.
I didn't know
Yep.
how much
It's
the
a
fire.
reminder.
I didn't
Yep.
know how much the fire got those hoses.
Oh, no. No, it's fine. Like I said, most of the car was absolutely perfect, intact. When I got out of the hospital and I finally got out a few weeks later and got out of the house and went out and looked at the race car, I was just amazed by the very minimal damage,
How expensive a part is that hose that was faulty, and how much are the safer hoses?
That hose that was on there, the two fittings, piece of hose,
$75.
no, push lock stuff, you got about, $30-$40 in it.
Any fitting, unless they were straight fittings, anytime you ask a fitting to turn a corner, they double the price.
This one was just two straights,
Oh,
nothing
geez.
special. It was just, $30 worth of hose and fittings. And, when you upgrade, you're going to spend, $75-$80, for that same piece of hose. But it's something that you won't have to replace. If you take care of that kind of hose, you just don't replace it.
And you can make those hoses, and
Yes.
if one of our
Not
listeners,
today, but very soon.
if one of our listeners in Australia wants one, you could ship it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. We can do anything we want. So it's going to be some
So
really
just-
good hose.
So just tell Jimmy what it is that you need. He'll make it.
Yep.
Put it in the Pony Express and
On its way.
give
So
him,
how
give him
can-
a credit card.
How can people get a hold of you for the Bulldog Safety?
Just go right on the Facebook page. There's a link with my phone number in it. Should be right there for you guys.
We'll even we'll share the logo so you get to the right place. I think it's that one. There we go. Boom. Bulldog Safety and Performance.
And that logo was my buddy Custom Cuz out of South Africa did that logo
Really?
for me.
Really?
South
Yeah. He
Africa.
did. Yeah, so the dirt car graphics that I released here about 2 weeks ago, he did that as well. So, and then my other friends, Jacques and Joe Marie, that have a graphics company, are doing all the stickers and all the logos and all that stuff for me, and I'm going to send it over here probably within a week.
And you're sending hoses over to them?
As soon as they want it. Oh yeah, we've already been working on stuff. So yeah, there was another one that we did. We did some business with was Kaiser Racing Wheels. I had called those guys and did some work with them on some hot rod wheels for my buddy on a little right-hander 4-cylinder car, and everything turned out really good. And then it was like one thing led to another, and now I'm a dealer with Kaiser Wheels. So that was just kind of a benefit that I didn't know happened, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, what about this as a possibility? And boom, it happened. So
Well, that's pretty cool.
yeah, it was just strange things happen with all
And
this.
pretty much all types of aluminum racing wheels?
Yeah, we can do just about anything. Yep.
Okay.
So what, after your experience last year, what would you consider the most important safety feature on a race car?
All of them.
No, it could be true.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't one that you can say is more important than the other. I mean, we've always overlooked stuff over the years. I mean, it was like guys didn't run headrests, they didn't run a roll cage. I mean, all these little things over the years.
What guys didn't run roll cage? That was like pre-1950, wasn't it?
Yeah, my grandpa.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Really?
Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean,
Those guys had,
there's just so many things.
they had to have a wheelbarrow.
A little
to,
hoop that kind of, if he scrunched down,
Yep. But yeah, I mean, over the years you just learn. I mean, it was like we didn't run, headrest, and we didn't run,
the
full
containment,
containment seats, and then just all these things progress over the years, and you just learn. And the next thing now is the fire suppression systems, and
But all
more
the
than likely,
all the personal safety equipment wouldn't have done anything because all they were is a wick,
pretty much, yeah.
because the alcohol soaked in. And
And it's funny because I've talked to so many guys that said, dude, I've done the same thing. Barry, you were talking about just a little bit ago. He used me as his go-to for his driver's meetings the next few weeks. And over a 1 month span, right after that happened, he had 2 different scenarios where 2 different drivers pulled off and went either to the infield and shut the car off and went to the safety crew. And one guy went over towards another safety area and just shut their cars off. And they were like, I would have never thought about doing that, and just drove my car right back to the trailer like normal until you sat there and told us about Jimmy. So he called me twice. He sent me messages like, I'm telling you. He says, I'm using you and it's working. So
shut the freaking car off.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've been talking about everything you can do to the race cars. Is there things that the local tracks can do? Are there areas do you think they need to step up?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a fire extinguisher near where I was at, and I came off the racetrack, and that was a bummer for me because I was going to where I knew there was people to help me because it's so early in the evening, that there just wasn't a lot of people placed around the racetrack, and I was new to that facility, so I didn't have any idea where stuff was, but I knew that if I went towards the exit, I would be okay, and unfortunately that wasn't there. But we've talked about water cannons, buckets of water. I suggested having a couple 55-gallon drums down there, with a couple of buckets. So, I mean, if somebody did know where to go, even a 55-gallon drum with no lid on it, I could have jumped there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's so many things that you can have in your brain as a race car driver or, somebody that's just working in the infield and says, hey, I just seen what's going on there. One, they've got water cannons, which squirt a long distance, but even just some buckets,
So, do you have any more procedures or anything scheduled anymore? Are you done seeing doctors for your feet?
Yeah, actually, I know it sounds weird, but I quit seeing the doctors just because the last few times I went in there to the clinic to see them, they were just, come in, look at your feet, said, all right, cool, take a picture or two, and
You're doing fine.
yeah, you're on your way. So I just kind of quit going. And so far, so good. I hope I don't have to have any procedures. Like I said, the biggest thing is just getting my toes to work properly.
You have to do
Physical therapy.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had that.
Probably, but it's,
But
So,
if you
so
don't
you're
see
not
the
doing any
doctor-
right now then?
not at the moment, no.
Okay.
But when you stretch them the way they are right now, they're just, it pulls like all the way up at the top of your ankle, that whole piece of skin all the way across the top of your foot, all the way down to your kind of knuckle jam area right there. It pulls everything really hard and really tight. So it just doesn't move. So.
Well,
Yeah.
and in a fire, the tendons shrink too. So
It's like a shrinky dink.
it's not just the skin that.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what all happened. I just know that they pulled and they hurt. And, when I walk around barefoot is when I notice it the most, but that's when it pulls the most. So it's more comfortable to just keep shoes on.
So have you been back in a race car since? I mean, even just a sit in
I
one?
saw it go down the road.
Yeah, we fired the dirt car off here about 2 weeks ago. Kind of got that one. And, funny story. I told my dad, I was like, yeah, I was a little bit nervous on that one. He goes, you were? And I'm like, well, didn't you see me?
Did you look at the fuel line first?
Dude, I went over the fuel line with a wrench about 6 times. Every single line on that race car I went over about 6 times. So, yeah, I mean, I've talked to other guys. I've got a good buddy out in Montana, who's another McCune, Jeremy, who helped us out here a few times over the year. And he was burned as well. And he just said, it's going to take you a race or two to just kind of get all the gremlins out of your head and, just kind of get back to your own self and just we're going to gas it up and kind of see where we at.
So you're eyeballing Waynesfield. Is that going to be your first race?
I hope so.
Okay.
That's kind of
Waynesfield
where I've
or
been.
Wayne County.
Wayne County.
Oh, Wayne. I'm sorry.
Not Waynesfield. Yeah.
Wayne County. Sorry, that's a little further, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over near Cleveland.
Yeah, somewhere south.
Big money,
of
though.
that area.
Yeah.
Big money, though, for
What,
a weekly show.
Is it just a weekly show you're going to be?
Yeah, they just run every Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yep, they run every night through April, and we don't really have much going around here till the end of April, 1st of May. So,
What about Attica?
Yeah, I don't belong there yet.
Did you lose somebody? Are we having an Amber Alert?
Yeah, Amber's in trouble again.
Oh. Oh, yep. I'm getting an Amber Alert. Okay. Well, there's an Amber Alert, so if you see this person, go ahead and contact authorities. So is Wayne County, is that all that you have planned this year? You're going to do some must-see, get back on the pavement?
Yeah, we're working on the asphalt car right now. I'm going to hopefully start assembling that this weekend. And, we're planning on running a whole must-see schedule. We're just going to kind of fill in dirt and go play and learn that stuff as we go through the season. And biggest thing for me was just getting back in the car, getting back on the dirt, just kind of getting those gremlins out of my head and, get the cobwebs out, man. I've been dying to get back in a race car, and it was like, all right, dirt is the earliest it's going to be. We don't even run till I think it's May 20th with the asphalt car. So, just getting out there and getting a few races under my belt is goal at this point.
Have you 500 this year?
No, we'll be at Birch Run running a double show Friday, Saturday night.
All right,
double up there. So yeah, with Mussy.
Have you run Wayne County then before?
No, never even been there. Looked at it online.
So you're going to try and shake off the cobwebs at a track you've never been to?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
You know how many times we've done that over our life? Every single one of them. Every single one of them you had to have a first time. So
that's true.
But yeah, no. So a good buddy of mine from Quartermidge, it's Rob Cheney. He's retired now, but we ran into his dad down at Volusia County when my dad and I went down there, and he's like, "Man, you got to come over and see us and come over and run." And he says, we're just getting enough cars to fill the field over there. And he says, you get laps. And, that's the biggest thing for me is just getting laps and getting comfortable.
All right.
How many races did you have in last year before you got hurt? And last year was the first transition year from strictly pavement to mixing them up.
Yeah. So like I said, we got 3, well, I shouldn't say that was the third night. So we really only got 1 full night in. We went to Fremont, and it was just kind of like I hadn't been on dirt.
What am I doing?
Yeah, almost 30 years I've been on a dirt wing car. Actually, I just watched a video on Flow, and it was me running Dwight Reeling's car, which I was running dirt at that time with that same car, but we were at IRP, and it said I was 17 years old.
Oh, my.
And, that was 30 years ago. So I'm like, yeah. So, yeah, it was
letting trade secrets out there.
I know, right?
A couple of our listeners can do math.
Yeah, we all know how old I am. But yeah, so we're gonna do some dirt, and we're gonna do the asphalt, and just try to have some fun.
What other dirt tracks you think you might hit this year?
We'll probably go back to Butler.
Okay.
We're gonna stick close to home, and just kind of go play. Once I think the season starts up there, we'll probably just kind of go up there and play, and see what kind of improvements have been made.
So the dirt's going to be play. Are things going to be a little more serious on the asphalt? Are you going to be running for that
I'm
championship?
serious about everything, but
okay.
The dirt is just me learning. So.
All right, let me ask it this way. Are you going to be running for the championship anywhere?
With Mussy, yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, I've never, even in the 5 that we won, I never ran for a championship. So I race to go for the wins. I don't really, whatever happens falls into place, and, we'll let that be. So
in any of your championships, you've never looked at the standings and...
Only reason I looked at them is because people kept talking to me about them. But I don't run for championships.
Scott, even the Cup guys nowadays are running dirt to sharpen their skills, so it's something he's got to do. It'll make him better on pavement.
That's what I felt like. I thought, no matter what, no matter what I do, this is going to help everything that I do.
You're the Kyle Larson of must-see racing.
Just Jimmy. Just Jimmy.
The Bulldog.
There you go.
Would you run a sprint car in the dirt at Bristol? You're not ready for that yet?
Probably not ready for that, but, we did Bristol already with the sprint car. We were way faster. Yeah.
On the asphalt?
Yeah, with the wing car.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, when we went down there with Must See, They went 12.7 for the track record. So, yeah, we were about a second faster than their
And
guys.
you've got that track record?
No, not me.
Oh.
No.
How fast were you?
We, as far as must-see does.
Yeah, okay.
But that was Brian Gerster. But, yeah, no.
What was your time?
I don't know. We struggled a lot with engine, trying to get it to run. We did some testing down there. But, I mean, you know, I think we finished somewhere around 9th or whatever. But
That's got to be some
Yeah.
incredible speed, though, on those cars.
it was fun, but it was boring. It was like it was so fast and so smooth that it was almost boring.
Not
Another
me.
Amber Alert.
That's not me. Oh,
Another Amber Alert.
that's the camera. I guess that's what I get for using cell phones as cameras. Well, your next race, your first race back is Wayne
When the weather
County,
breaks.
and what's that?
When the weather breaks.
When the weather breaks, but shooting for the beginning of April.
Yes.
Is it not next weekend, but the weekend after, probably?
Yeah.
On the
This
weekend.
weekend was supposed to be their tune-up for, you know, shakedowns, and then the following week would be race.
And you're ready to
First.
go then with the dirt car.
Yeah, the car's pretty much ready. I'm just waiting on some stickers right now, but it's been sitting there for about 2 weeks ready to go. So hopefully we got everything in place.
All right. Well, when you get there, you gotta uphold the Hammer Down Racing Report tradition and pick up the
That's
win.
right. Well, and he knows about that.
Yeah.
He may have forgotten, but we've told him before.
You weren't on the show the week before the fire, were you?
No.
Okay, that was not our
But it
fault.
was
That wasn't us.
nothing to do with
it was fairly close. It was fairly close because you guys talked to me right before I went dirt racing because you were like, are you really
That's
going dirt
right, yeah.
racing? Yeah. And then, you know, a few weeks later, here we are.
Well, there's too much of a cushion there to blame us. You can't.
Yeah, no, we're good. We'll be fine.
Well, Jimmy, good luck on that, and good luck with the Bulldog safety and performance deal.
Appreciate it.
Are you gonna build that out anymore? Are you gonna have like a website or anything, or is that just gonna be?
Right now, we're just kind of taking it as it goes and, you know, just kind of
What's
flying
the-
by the seat of our
what-
pants to see how everything goes.
What's been the reception so far? I mean, have you gotten a lot of?
Yeah, everything's been
interest?
good. I mean, it's just hard to push stuff. I mean, you're pushing stuff out on Facebook and, you know, just kind of shove it in front of everybody's face, you know, as often as possible. Just keep a reminder and let them know what we're doing, what we're about, and, you know, try to help guys out. You know, that's the main goal. It's just help guys. You know, it's all, you know, safety oriented. So, you know, which I also didn't plug the part of the Penske shocks, but we are doing Penske shocks. We do parts sales and service. But yeah, we've done that. I've done Penske shocks my whole life, but, you know, now I've actually taken it a little bit step further of, you know, selling parts and, you know, pieces and doing some rebuilds. And, you know, I've got a buddy of mine over in the UK just won all three races last weekend on a shock tune-up that we just gave him. We built him some shocks last year and sent 3 sets to him, and wasn't quite happy with them. And we did some little tune-up changes over the winter here, and I gave him the stuff that he needed to fix them when we were actually down at Volusia, because him and his family had flew over, and we met and hooked up at Volusia there and watched some racing and stuff. And he went back and made a couple more adjustments on that tune-up that we gave him, and just cleaned everybody's clock. And they haven't done that since the 80s. They said nobody's done what he did. So,
Do you stock?
cool.
Do you do stock car
we do
shocks?
anything. Yep.
late model shocks?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. We do it all.
I've got Penske shocks on my car.
Maybe that's my problem.
Maybe you need Penske shocks.
Maybe I do. I don't know.
We can do it.
I did mean to ask you though, with some of the rules that the fire suppression rules of like the World of Outlaws, All Stars, all that. I'm assuming you're 100% behind that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, SPA. We were the first company to be certified
Okay.
for the Outlaws. So yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll for a while.
And what do you say to those that complain of the costs?
It's a lot
Look at
better.
his feet.
Look at my feet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can sit there and tell you that all day long, but I'm going to tell you one thing: just the pain and suffering it was just horrible. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to deal with this. I mean, even if it's a burn on your leg or your arm, fingers, man, just
Burns
You
are
know,
not good.
for
It's like the
$1,000
worst fear of.
and our system doesn't cost that much. For $1,000, we spend that, you know, all too often, and on way dumber stuff. So,
And
just
how long
take
do
it
those?
seriously.
How long do those last?
Get it recertified every couple of years.
Okay,
Yep.
it's something you can
Oh,
get recertified. Okay,
Yep.
I don't know
Our
anything
systems
about those.
we recertify our own systems. Yep.
So you can do that then.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But it has to be an SBA system. We don't do other brands.
Okay, that's fair.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to a little bit of news here. Is that-
Really?
Is that acceptable? Yeah. We got a
There's news?
little bit, just that much.
Oh, okay.
We got to give away some pizza, too. Before we do that, though, I got to mention DCR Graphics. Once again, these guys, they made... they do more than this, I should say.
They do big cars.
Yeah, they do real cars, not just toy cars. But they do toy cars, too. Yeah, so full wrap starting at $350. You know, this is the season where a lot of graphics guys are getting busy, need something done. Give DCR Graphics a call. They're locally owned and operated. They'll come out, by the way. He pointed out they will come out and do the wrap wherever you are, or you can bring it to them, whichever. They're pretty open on that. They also specialize in banner stickers, die-cast, and T-shirt designs. They can do graphics for any kind of car, sprint cars, late models, modified, stock cars, compacts, and he'd even do a 35 for your car.
Really?
For your little daily driver car, yeah.
Ooh.
Then you might drive too fast. Is your wife back yet?
No.
So there's still time to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we go. If it can be measured, they can do the graphics. Call or text DCR Graphics at 419-308-9523. And you can check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/DCR Graphics. And Romula Race Cars. Give him a call at 734-856-7223. That's 856.
Race.
There you go. I'm just waiting for it.
Sorry, I'm
Race
a little slow on that one.
Race Cars, parts, safety equipment, service, seat belts.
That's the one.
Safety harness, not really seat belts, I guess. That'd be weird. Anything, give him a call, 734-856-7223. And any updates on Oakshade Hall of Fame? Have you done anything on that? It's kind of, I'm putting you in charge of it.
I didn't know that the ball was in my court.
I'm kind of putting you in charge of that.
No one in higher management has said, hey, let's run with this. So.
Oh, is that what we're waiting for?
You should just run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's better. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. And what are they going to say? No. We don't like those old time racers.
Well, we'd have to have a place to put some of the memorabilia, you know.
Yeah. Maybe we can get somebody to donate a building or something.
Yeah.
Latest racing news.
A little bit of racing news here. We talked a little bit about this earlier. One of the cautions in the Xfinity race this past Saturday led to a frustrated Josh Williams to make an unusual exit in the first stage, leaving his car parked on the start-finish line. Yellow flag flew after debris came off Williams' number 92 Chevrolet, and he was ordered by NASCAR to park his vehicle. A frustrated Williams parked his car on the checkered start-finish line, climbed out, and walked toward his pit crew.
Were they specific in telling him where to park
I don't know if they said take it to the garage or just park it.
They will be in the future.
Yeah, I don't know what the wording was. But he was... Williams was taken to the infield care center, then escorted to his team hauler without speaking to reporters. He has since been, I think he was on the Dale Jr. download. I haven't had a chance to hear that, but here's what happened.
Fine. So you got that bear bond, and because it's so cold, that will just not stick as well in the colder conditions, and it blows off.
There he is, climbing out.
We saw
toward the infield
with it taped up,
though.
and we saw it all wrinkled, and then we saw it had disappeared. And then we got the caution for debris, and we assumed it was because some of that bear bond had come off the 92.
Well, I mean, and that wasn't a finger. It was a peace sign.
Yeah.
So I mean, he wasn't doing anything bad.
I had heard reports early that he kind of flipped off the flagman.
I didn't. He even did the little heart symbol thing. One of the cameras said. Yeah, Denny Hamlin offered to pay for any fines for him, and as far as I heard, there's no fines, but he has been suspended for one race.
He's parked for a week.
So yes, maybe he'll go park his car in the start-finish line at Coda. No, he's got someone filling in, driving for him for this week. For just the NASCAR All-Star race at North Wilkesboro coming up on May 21st, Kevin Harvick will bring back the number 29 with a throwback paint scheme to the design he used when he won in just his third career NASCAR Cup Series start on March 11th back in 2001. Wow, that was a long time ago.
Wow.
That was at Atlanta Motor Speedway when he drove for Richard Childress Racing. Harvick wasn't just driving any race car when he won at Atlanta. He was driving the race car that less than a month earlier had been piloted piloted by the late Dale Earnhardt. Well, he was it was piloted by Dale Earnhardt because he wasn't late at that point. That would be awkward. Hendrick Motorsports and Kaulig Racing will appeal. I think I mentioned this last week on the show, the L2 penalty issued by NASCAR following the confiscation of hood louvers. We just need to end the show. I can't talk anymore. That were found on the 4 Hendrick cars and the number 31 Chevrolet at Phoenix Raceway. Denny Hamlin has also changed his mind and is also going to appeal his penalty for his rough driving when he got involved with Ross Chastain at Phoenix.
I wonder if it's Hendricks and colleagues still their contention that those parts are as they received them from the vendor.
I don't know. I did see. Was watching a little bit of the race on Sunday, and what's his name, Clint, in the booth had mentioned that
Boyer.
Yeah, that would be an interesting. The proceedings for that would make for some interesting television.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, but I haven't heard anything on how that's.
It'd be cool if Hammer Down was there covering it.
Sure, let's send a reporter there. What are you doing? What are you doing, Ron? You busy? Cobra Racing Tires has been making tires for go-karts for 25 years. Have you guys heard of Cobra Racing Tires? Yep. I had not. Yep. Now they're getting into full-size pavement stock car racing tires, selling for $179 each and available for 8 and 10-inch wheels. 13-inch wheels are in development. Kingsport Speedway promoter, Kingsport Speedway in Tennessee, the promoter there, Vern Deal, contacted Cobra after he was told he could not get tires for his driver's practice. There are 6 more tracks on a waiting list as Cobra seeks to expand its supply, but it doesn't sound like Cobra will be working on any dirt track tires in the immediate future. What do you think about another tire manufacturer getting involved in things, trying to fill a gap? Is that going to create problems, or is that a good thing?
Scott, I think that the economy has driven the tire prices up where we will probably be seeing more of that. I know that the big guys are pretty proud of their stuff.
Yeah, that's the problem. But then you got to get the racetracks to be on board with going with.
Oh, absolutely.
Brand.
But
that's the biggest problem. That's what I see. It's hard to get those guys. When there's money funneled into the racetrack, it's hard to get guys to dwindle away from that money to help the racer.
What, you're thinking that the big guys actually funnel money into facilities and sanctioning bodies? Huh.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
I know, right? But it would be great. I mean, there was a sprint car tire out of Australia that they were running there for a little while, but it's hard to get.
Well, the one out of Australia was actually a Chinese tire.
One. Yeah, I remember.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, okay. We had covered that a little bit.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything more on that.
It went kind of quiet.
Yeah. On Monday, it was announced that XR Super Series postponed the Spring Thaw 1000 at Volunteer Speedway. That was scheduled for tonight through Saturday due to unfavorable weather. I'm so sick of saying unfavorable weather. The event will now take place April 13th through the 15th. Also due to unfavorable forecasts for Friday and Saturday, the 11th annual Thaw Brawl at Davenport Speedway in Iowa has been postponed. A makeup date is being worked on. Chevrolet announced that they are ending production of the 6th generation of the Chevrolet Camaro at the conclusion of the 2024 model year. Remains to be seen what manufacturer will enter in NASCAR competition in the future. Chevy can use the Camaro in NASCAR through the 2024 season. The final 6th generation Camaros will come off the assembly line in January 2024.
And I think that's probably why they ended production in January, so they
could keep using that. There's just not many cars left anymore. I mean, the only car manufacturers that make cars are mostly the foreign cars at this point, because all the American, other than a few, all American automakers are making SUVs, and they're all they all look the same. They just got a different emblem on them. Are we going to see that? Is it going to be a new series, the NASCAR SUV series?
Econo boxes.
NASCAR electric.
Well, that too. That's coming.
It's all coming.
Not interested, Jimmy.
Exactly. Me either.
That's
the time to retire.
Are they going to make what will Chevy do?
Well, I don't know. It said they were ending the Gen 6.
Yeah, they are going to make another Camaro.
Maybe they're going to make a Gen 7 Camaro.
in time for the 2025 season?
I don't know.
All right.
Maybe it's already in the pipeline. I'm just
You
throwing
need
that
to
out there.
use
I
your
don't
connections, find out what's going on.
know. Yeah, okay.
Was going to report that Winston Speedway, 3/8-mile dirt oval in Rothbury,
Breaking news,
Michigan,
it's for sale.
was for sale. No, it was for sale, but
was.
now we do have some breaking news just before we came on here. I got so many feet pictures, I couldn't find the breaking news graphic. There we go. The breaking news music. Winston Speedway has been sold. Scott and Pam Phillips have purchased the Speedway. Their planned opening night is April 21st. They are diligently working on rules, classes, schedules, sponsors, and more. A driver's meeting for pit spots and registration will be coming soon.
I'm telling you, Scott, if it's sold for what I read as the asking price,
$200,000.
that was a smoking deal. I don't
that
think
was
you
the
could
asking
replace the grandstands for that.
No, I thought that was
Let
a misprint
alone-
when I read that.
Wow.
200,000. I think it was 30. No, it's more. Was it 32 acres?
Yeah.
2 parcels, something like that. Yeah. I don't know if it came with all the equipment as well.
I understand there was no equipment, and
equipment,
they're
okay.
working on that.
Well, then maybe that.
But they hope to have it open by their advertised, I think it was April 21st opening date.
Yes, that is what they're looking for. So, and finally, as far as news goes, NASCAR Cup Series driver Kyle Busch will compete in the $20,000 to win Kyle Larson Late Model Challenge at Volunteer Speedway. That's coming up before the Bristol Dirt deal. That's going to be on Thursday, April 6th.
Driving a dirt late model provided
weeks
by
from tonight.
Brandon Overton.
It'll be interesting.
Could be a good car.
Yeah. If Brandon Overton
It's a
offered,
decent chance it's going to be a good ride.
What's that?
Decent chance
Yeah.
it's going to be a good ride.
Yeah.
if Brandon offered you a dirt late model ride, would you take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll drive anything. Come
Okay.
on.
All right. I was just making sure.
Going to race with the kids this summer in the go-karts?
I'm probably not going to.
Oh,
No. We're going to leave it up to them. Let them do the karting stuff. I tried.
there's
Just
room
too
in the
busy.
trailer for one more.
Oh, I did, and we did, but it's just too much hassle
Too
trying
much.
to take care of them.
Trying to be
and
a crew
myself,
chief
And I'm like,
and-
no, it's good. They can have Friday night. We'll just play on Saturdays and Sundays.
No Hammer Down hotline playback. No messages this
Really?
week. But if for some reason you want to call, leave a message, text 419-318-3081. That's 419-318-3081. Call, text anytime, day or night.
Comment
And
on
if you
how-
don't,
comment on how gross the
Yeah. if you
pictures
don't,
were
I'm
that
going
we
to
used tonight.
make you look at this. We'll just have
A little rough.
a little rough.
A little rough.
How does it? Looking at those pictures, does that make you nauseous at all? Or
No, dude, they were attached to me.
okay, that's true. They are, and they still are attached. to you, but just
No,
looking a little better.
no, it doesn't bother me.
Okay. How about we give away some pizza? Big D's
Sounds
Pizza.
like a plan. I was hungry.
Are you? All right. Yeah, we got.
How many?
Yep, that was kind of quick, but that works. This week's How Many? Well, last week's How Many was how many World of Outlaws were going to be at Williams Grove on Friday night. That show was canceled, so that number turned out to be 0. So we had a 3-way tie for people who picked 0. So we're going to have to spin the Big D's
Who
pizza
was the
wheel.
studio winner, Scott?
Oh, yeah, I kind of skipped that, didn't I? Well, seeing as how I picked 32 and you decided to one under me, just in case.
Figuring the weather was going to be a factor. Yeah.
Mr. Miller picked 31, so he was closest of us. So let's find out who's going to get the pizza. Oh, and look at one of those. It's Dean Henry, who
Really?
owns Big D's Pizza, was one of the people to guess correctly. So
You'd think he knew something about motorsports.
we may have to spin this one more time if
Extra spin.
if
Sorry, Dean.
it comes up red, because he can get free pizza whenever he wants. I think it's going to come up red now.
All right, 2 out of 3.
We're gonna have to spin this again. Yep. All right. Let's remove Dean. Here we go. Now for the actual winner. Dean's always a winner. It's gonna be
Matt Swander.
there. It is. Matt Swander gets himself free pizza from Big D's 30 Claim. He usually donates them to first responders out there, which Dean does actually give those to the first responder. Doesn't just say it; he actually does it. So we'll see if Matt decides to take it this time or not.
Matt
He's gonna
needs to
make
take
the
it
drive
from,
from Indiana. He could get it with the founders.
plan it on a race night.
Yeah. So this week's how many? Chance to win Big D's Pizzas. How many World of Outlaw sprints? We're going to do World of Outlaw sprints again. Are going to be at Magnolia on Saturday night.
Ooh, the Mag.
Which hasn't canceled yet that I know of. So you have to guess first there, sir.
Oh, I do. World of Outlaw sprints at Magnolia. I'm going with 32.
That was my number last week.
That's right.
Then I'm going with 31.
It's going to ball.
I don't know. Jimmy, you want in on this? You're not going to win anything.
Where
right?
is that track?
I believe it's Missouri, Mississippi, Missouri.
Missouri, 36. We're going to go with the local boys
Okay.
and the
You're probably going to make us look bad. If you want a chance to Big D's Pizza, put your guess in the comments of our Facebook Live and or our YouTube Live. You can put it there as well. Just put a number. That's all you need to do. Well, it's Mississippi, Dave. Thank you. I knew it was one M, please. And we'll figure out who that winner is next week. You can only guess once, though, and whoever's closest will win. It doesn't matter if you go over or under or
If
whatever.
you guess more than
Yeah,
once,
over
you
and under.
get a black flag
Yes, which is right there.
right there.
Behind Jimmy there. We
Right
got our
next to me.
flags, yeah. So, we'll determine who. We'll leave these open, too, if you're listening to us on the podcast. And you can get in, find the Facebook Live video, YouTube video, and put your comment in before, I'll say 4 o'clock on Saturday. 5?
No, they'll know it's
Noon.
they'll know if it's going to rain.
You're right. Well, I'm going to go. Let's go noon. Leave it
Okay.
open a little bit. Noon on Saturday.
All right.
So if you already put your guess in, if you add a guess, that's going to get you a black flag too. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but new rule.
Yeah, you have, but it's been a while.
And another rule for how many?
You're starting to sound like NASCAR.
I
dude.
know this is the best rule though. I can make a rule anytime I want. That's the new rule.
Okay.
I can make a new rule.
What happened at Millbridge Wednesday night? I looked for it.
I was busy last night. I didn't get a chance. I wasn't even looking for it. I don't know if they were racing or not.
I looked for it and couldn't find it.
I'm sorry.
That place becomes addicting.
It's in North. It's fun to watch those
really
slide
is.
jobs on that little track. You watch Millbridge?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Have you ever run there before? One of the little things?
Nope.
No. Okay. Do you want to?
I would.
600 micro.
That would be fun.
Oh, bud.
Yes.
Oh,
Good
bud.
times.
All right. Let's check out our Big D's Pizza Racing.
This weekend's Big D's Pizza Racing menu.
Kind of stuttery for some reason. Attica was supposed to start this weekend. It has been rained out, and the rain date for Saturday also rained out. So no racing at Attica this weekend.
Too wet.
Other series of action, though, they're going to try again next weekend. Other series in action this weekend, as we mentioned, the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Series. They're going to be at the Talladega Sprint Car Showdown at Talladega Short Track in Alabama Friday. That can be tomorrow. And then it's the World of Outlaws Black Ice Brawl at Magnolia Motor Speedway in Columbus, Mississippi. Yeah, it's right here in my notes. I should have known where it was. On Saturday, also from Dave. He helps with the prep there. So that's Saturday night. That's the one for how many. And then we have some NASCAR racing, the Craftsman Truck Series. Actually, all three top series are going to be at the Circuit of the Americas. Some road racing action. The Expel 225 for the Truck Series. That'll be Saturday at 1:30 on FS1. The Xfinity Series racing the Pit Boss 250 presented by USA Today. That'll be also Saturday at 5 p.m. on FS1. And then the Cup Series in action, the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix, March 26th. That's Sunday, 3:30 on Fox. And is it all series that has the choose cone rule, or is it just the Cup Series?
No, this will be the first time that they've used the choose cone on a road course. So,
But is it Cup Series though, or is it all series?
I think it's everybody.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I guess and it probably would make a big difference. I can't picture the Circuit of the Americas track and how the first corner, is it to the right or to the left?
Whatever, you want to be on the inside.
Yes, yeah, probably there. Yeah, that makes sense. So with no local racing action, we have no weekend weather pit stop this week. But, yeah, so that's going to...
Weekend weather pit stop meteorologist declined.
Well, he didn't decline. I didn't get any races.
Don't blame me.
He didn't decline. I didn't send many races because we didn't have any to send this week. But hopefully next week we'll have some racing next weekend and a weekend weather pit stop forecast to go along with it. That'll be sunny. Although from what I heard just tonight, they were talking about the Mud Hens opener, which is a week from Friday, and they said it wasn't looking good. That was all I heard. I didn't.
Scott, if you remember,
the weekend racing report doesn't look good for the next 2 weeks.
If you remember right, when Ryan Weekman was on our show a few years back, he said this time of year when weather gets into a pattern, it tends to repeat itself. A cycle.
I think we need to reject Mother Nature and substitute it with our own forecast. Sunny and 85 tomorrow.
There we go.
And Saturday.
Somewhere.
86.
Somewhere.
Perfect.
Partly cloudy. Little breeze. Thanks to Dave Kammer, associate producer, and our contributors, Matt Swander, John Young, Doug Duck, and Bob Stazak. Make sure to like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Hammer Report. Follow us on YouTube. Listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And, of course, check us out at HammerdownRacingReport.com. And make sure to rate and review us. Share us with your friends. I probably should have said at the beginning, share us with your friends. That would have made more sense, but whatever. And again, if you're listening to us on the podcast and not the video version, if you want to see Mr. McCune's feet, you can scroll back through. This video will be on there.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to.
I wouldn't do it if you're getting ready to eat dinner or lunch. Breakfast may be okay. I don't know. Unless you're having bacon. That might not be good.
And we've got to thank Jimmy the Bulldog McCune for hanging with us for the whole show.
Absolutely. And if you need safety equipment, make sure to give Bulldog
just
safety
hit us up.
performance.
Fire extinguishers as well.
Fire extinguishers as well. Okay.
Yep.
Do you refill them too, or?
Yeah, we service them, do everything.
Oh,
yep.
Full service.
Yep.
And again, people can get a hold of you on Facebook.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Or my daily job at Abe's.
At Abe's.
Yep. I'm always there. But
okay.
My cell phone is linked right to Bulldog Safety and Performance. All you gotta do is hit me up there. And you even have WhatsApp linked to it as well.
Do you want to give out your cell phone number?
Yeah, it's 419-467-9582. Just give me a call anytime.
There you go. Thanks again to our sponsors, DCR Graphics, Big D's Pizza, Oakshade Raceway, Ryan Miller Race Cars, Freeze Frame Photos, Headhunters, Barber Studio and Salon, and we like little gifts like this as well. So thanks again to DCR Graphics for that.
We like T-shirts too.
T-shirts are cool, yeah.
Yeah,
always.
And DCR Graphics, they can design stuff for T-shirts, I'm sure.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not sure they can print them, but they can at least design them. If you're interested in being a sponsor of the Hammer Down Racing Report, maybe we should talk to Bulldog about being a sponsor on the show or something. I don't know. Just saying. Send us a message or call the Hammer Down hotline, 419-318-3081. Thanks again to Jimmy for hanging with us this week. Next week on the show, we will have Barry Marlowe from Great Lakes Super Sprints as they get ready to...
Pretty cool.
He's going to be a real busy guy this year. They got the NRA sprints added under the GLSS umbrella. They got the traditional sprints. They got
Barry's given up
sprints.
on the winter ice race this year.
They got, I think they may have had one up on the river.
Yeah, they had a couple.
Yeah,
looks like
they had a couple scheduled, but I know the one got canceled because it was too warm.
Yep.
So
I thought they got one.
Yeah, we'll ask him about that next week.
We'll find out.
And he's got a lot of races at I-96 scheduled as well.
We're hoping to maybe run with him
at I-96.
Well, just with his series GLSS, it's a possibility.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You haven't run with them yet? No, I guess you haven't done that many dirt. You burned your feet in
only two and a third or a quarter.
So that's next week on the show. We'll be back live 7 o'clock next Thursday, March 30th. Tune in live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we'll get out of here so he can get some food.
Thanks to Bulldog Safety Equipment.
There you go. A future sponsor of the show. There it is. I couldn't find the quote. Okay, bye.
You have been listening to the Hammer Down Racing Report, available on demand on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform.